G'day, my name's Jack, an Aussie expat living in Malaysia. I moved from Sydney to Kuala Lumpur almost 3 years ago, and in this video, I'll share my thoughts on Australia Day based on what I've learned from living and working here. The way Malaysia celebrates national days and their culture is a very different experience. And while both have controversial elements, it's clear which country is better at bringing people together. I'll cover what Malaysia and Australia have in common, the major differences, what Aussies can learn from Malaysians, and how both countries handle patriotism, national pride, and multiculturalism. Happy Australia Day. Let's get straight into the controversy. What is Australia Day? It's supposed to be a day celebrating Australia's history, culture, and achievements, bringing all Aussies together and having some national pride in the land down under. At least that's what it meant to me when I was growing up. We'd put temporary tattoos of the Aussie flag on our face and our arms. We'd have friends and family over and have a barbecue. It was a great day. We enjoyed the public holiday off work. No matter where we came from, everyone in Australia was Australian if they wanted to be. My impression of Australia growing up was that we were a relaxed, no worries mate society, and unfortunately I can honestly say now that I've seen that positive stereotype pretty much completely disappear over my lifetime, and I'm only 30. On the positive side, Aussies do still thoroughly enjoy sport. It's just a shame that being offended seems to be the most popular one to compete in on a daily basis. Jokes aside, there are serious elements to this. January 26 marks the arrival of the first fleet from Britain to Australia. So it's also a day of reflection for those who consider the day to be Invasion Day, which I do understand and I sympathise with. I think everyone is free to have their opinion and feel how they want to feel. My point is that it's simply a shame that all Aussies, no matter what country they came from around the world, can't come together and celebrate Australia for the country that it is today. On the other hand, here in Malaysia, people are more patriotic and frankly love their country. It's a much more positive vibe. I recently asked a bunch of Malaysians what they don't like or they think that could be improved about the country, and most of them said not much. They're grateful for what they have in this country no matter where they came from. Of course, there are still issues here that people don't want to talk about, so you can do your own research and come to your conclusions. But either way, in reality, Malaysians come together as one country, live peacefully and in harmony, and I honestly just don't see it impacting day-to-day life. Malaysia has two holidays that are similar to Australia Day. The first one is Merdeka Day, or Independence Day. This commemorates Malaysia's independence from British rule in 1957. It's a celebration of freedom, unity, and the country's journey to self-determination, and it's nothing but a positive day. The other one is Malaysia Day. This celebrates the official formation of Malaysia as it is today in 1963, uniting Peninsular Malaysia, or West Malaysia, to East Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak. At both of these public holidays, you'll see fireworks, the Twin Towers lit up, big parades, Malaysian flags everywhere, and just awesome, wholesome celebrations of the country. However, back in Australia on Australia Day, instead of focusing on the future and appreciating what we all have today, you'll be pulled into negative conversations about history, colonization, how you're a bad person even though you were born 200 years after the event, or perhaps you and your family's ancestors were from a completely different continent. So naturally, you'll question if Australia Day is even worth celebrating at all, and the stats show an increasing number of people feel the same. Is Australia worth celebrating? I'm not really sure anymore. I'll tell you who is celebrating though, new Australians. Hundreds of citizenship ceremonies will take place across the country, and thousands of new immigrants will be presented with Australian citizenship, which I'm sure they're extremely grateful for. There is a clear pathway to citizenship in Australia, and realistically, the nation as it is today has been built on immigration from all places. Many of my close friends today, which I've known since junior school, are second-generation Australians. Their parents took the risk to immigrate to Australia and built an amazing life for themselves and their children. I guarantee they'll be celebrating Australia more today than those who take the lucky country for granted. Malaysia, on the other hand, does not have a clear path to naturalisation. It means no matter how long I work here, pay taxes, I can never become a Malaysian citizen on paper. I'm proud of being an Aussie and I always will be. But it's interesting to note how both countries view the idea of national belonging and citizenship differently. So, what has living in Malaysia for 3 years taught me? 1. Malaysia has taught me how a country can embrace its multicultural roots and make diversity its strength. And I'm not just saying that as a catchphrase. Malaysia is truly Asia, and there's truth to the marketing campaign. Merdeka Day and Malaysia Day celebrate everyone. Malay, Chinese, Indian, Sabahan, Sarawakian, Orang Asli, foreigners. Everyone comes together as one. So Aussies, why don't we just be Aussies and celebrate the land down under? It doesn't matter what we look like or where our family came from. but our values. Bring back the Aussie values of mateship, enjoying life, and not taking things so seriously. 2, Malaysia celebrates its independence from colonial rule with dignity and respect. In my 3 years here, I haven't really seen any disparaging or negative hateful comments about the British, Japanese, Portuguese, Dutch, or any other colonial influence in Malaysia. We simply can't change the past. We can only make the best of what we have now and build for the future. Vietnam is also a fascinating example. I visited the country last year and I was super interested to learn how they treat Americans. They're welcoming, keep it positive, hold no bad grudges, which is really amazing and worthy of respect considering that the atrocious Vietnam War happened within many of your lifetimes. I went to the War Museum in Hanoi and saw much of the history and raw interactions firsthand. Terrible atrocities happened that should be condemned, but carrying forward that hate to today doesn't really do anything to mend the problem. So I respect the Vietnamese people to be able to do that. 3, I love how Malaysians celebrate as a community and there's a real sense of belonging. They come together for parades, cultural shows, food and other events, on public holidays for pretty much every major culture. They encourage everyone to get involved. Why can't Australia do this? At Chinese New Year, they asked me to wear the Chinese outfit. They even asked me to host the event. At Hari Raya, they asked me to wear the Malay outfit. And at Deepavali, the Indians even gave me an outfit and asked me to do their Indian dance. When was the last time you were encouraged to join, dress up, get involved and celebrate Aboriginal culture? If you did, you might even be called the R word. Why weren't we taught Aboriginal language at school? Why weren't we involved with their cultural values and traditional events? Instead, we're only presented with a negative view of history. 10-year-olds are told their ancestors are evil people. So I think it's a problem that can't really be solved unless we change our attitude from both sides. Everyone can have love, respect, and care in our hearts to mend together and move forward as one country. As for change the date, honestly, sure, why not? The goal here is to bring Australia together and celebrate, not keep arguing to prove a point. I'm sure we can agree on other dates that aren't offensive at all, like the 20th of April and the 6th of September. Australia and Malaysia both have incredible stories to tell. What I've learned here is how powerful it is to celebrate not only what makes us unique, but also what brings us together as people. As Aussies, we can learn so much from Malaysia's focus on unity and diversity. This Australia Day, let's celebrate our culture, whatever that is for you, and think about how we can create a more positive outlook for every current and future Australian. Welcome to the new Australian citizens, and if you're Aussie, comment below what you think about this. Local Malaysians, please comment your perspective. You know more about your country than me, so I'd really appreciate your local insights. It helps all of us watching learn something new. I hope you got value from this thought-provoking, honest video. Subscribe for more videos about life in Malaysia, and I'll see you in the next one.